This is part 6 of the 4 books going into one to make one gospel. And this is Luke going into, or meshing Matthew into Luke. Now, I had a problem last time with the text. I didn't understand what I did, so I reviewed it a little bit, and now I've got it under what understanding of what I did. I should blow this up just a little bit more. Yeah. Okay. This was the part 4 that of the group from Matthew that I brought over. And what it is if you see Matthew 3:13 here, I needed to put that group right here above where Luke was at. And then I still added more verses from above down here. And like I said, I needed to get rid of this verse here because it's pretty much right here. It's pretty much these words here. And what I did was I borrowed these words here to put into here so it reads better. And then I corrected a couple words here. And then I didn't need this verse. It didn't need this verse, didn't need this verse, nor this one, because when you look at them, how I've got them grouped, that this verse is going to be used, but this verse is not going to be used. Now, when I did mesh this group together, then I realized it's reading out of order. So that's why this group of words is going to be stuck under this group here, or this verse. So that's how this gets placed here in this area here, because it's still things that were being done. So yes, did I move this correctly? I'm not sure, but the way the order of the story is, I just needed to move that group down, and this was the final editing from the text way up above that needed to be added to this group here. So, this, I believe, is the next group that was going to be meshed. No, this is still part of, no, this was to be meshed with the text above, and then this would, and what's being added here and here. Nope, 16 or 16. Sorry for scrolling back and forth. I guess I didn't go over this text here. Oh, I'm just saying that it's completely out. This group is completely out. This group is 5 is from here to here. So this group, when I did try to mesh it, it didn't fit with the above text, because it's not really it's talking about John being arrested, and this group does not need to be there. This group here, I know is going to be stuck someplace else, or has a likeness to be stuck someplace else. So all this is not needed. No, I guess it's not fair for me just to say that without showing you where that's going. Let me see if I can do this. And no, it's this verse here. I don't need that much. I just need this much. I'm looking for words that I'm pretty sure I kept, so. Okay, it's going to be in the final text then. Oh yeah, because I removed this because of that as well. So how did I went and must have edited the next book and then come backwards and took care of verses that weren't needed. So you're gonna have to keep an eye. I'm gonna have to make a note here. Um, look for editing out in the upcoming videos. So let's see. I need this. And I should highlight it, I guess, so it comes out that it's being put in twice. I guess I should label it first. And this be second. I guess what happened, I'm now thinking what I did was when I meshed the next book, which I believe is Mark, and that book, when I was trying to put things to order, these needed to be moved in a different area. And then when I was meshing the text all together, I noted that they weren't needed. So right now, these should be just left as is, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to leave them as is and not say that they're taken out here in this video. And I've got to watch what I'm doing here. So I've got to, this is video 6. It is me to do that. Okay. Um, Now I need to come down here. I left this group of Matthew as is. So the next editing you'll see is this bar will be removed in the next editing. So let's see here. Of this group here, the text above has better text. So I guess that's what I'm saying here. Then this, and I didn't put them in there because I didn't want to mess the text up. So you're going to have to compare that on the PDF side when you look into it and have it on the screen, and you can probably compare the two on one screen at that time to see why this it's being said above is better. As is, and then this group here looks like it's going to be meshed with these here above. So you're going to see that yeah, okay, I did use one verse from this group. So it's actually these here, this one here. See, it was 15 that I used. So this got taken out and this gets taken out. And that one got used. What am I doing with those? Oh, this is as is. Okay. Because I was going to say, I started coloring the group of the text in these groups. So that's confusing to me right now, but it's just saying that these are in the group. This was all one group. Oh, that's why, because it's so long. Okay. And then this is, what do I want to say? Luke's text. So this would have been there, and I was meshing Matthew into this text. Okay, so I've got some text here that must be down here, mesh with the above. So let's take a look to see there needs to be any really true explanation here. I guess it needs to be divided here. Although I guess it's actually from both of these. It's kind of got, these two are pretty much in both of these. Oh, then I've got this one here that's tied to this verse here. So this is going to be one of those that are confusing, that I've got it up and I've got it down, that this one here is actually here. So, but I need to get rid of this part of this verse. Then I'm going to use this verse, but I don't need this part, these. And same thing here, same thing here. These, when you look them over, you'll see that the text above, the text that I'm going to keep is a lot better than what I'm getting rid of. So now I'm looking for the next text that has to be meshed. Guess I should do this. Here we go. I'm going to scroll down to show you this is to be meshed above. So these verses here are going to be, and notice how I've got these as yellow, so you can see that easier to spot. Like this one here is where I've used this verse here, but I just wanted to look here and yeah, because this verse here actually goes with this one here. Now I think at a certain point I would have put this verse up above this one, but the object is still the text that I'm removing here is here. And he's not paralyzed. Okay. Yeah, this, because this text I didn't put into the story because he's at home and he's about to die. And usually, see, when it's lying paralyzed at home, that's not saying that he's dying. Okay. So the thing here is it needs to be he's deadly sick and about to die. So here in suffering and great pain. A lot of times they try to, or tried to use part of a story and then change it for another meaning for their way of life onto their God. So this is what's being removed here, and to say this is actually the story that was there when you looked at them and compile when I looked at them and compiled them together, because the story is so familiar or so much together, has the same similar words, and then the word paralyzed didn't make sense. So yeah, those verses, I didn't borrow any words from those verses. Okay, here I found a group in Matthew that needs to be moved. It was with this group. Again, I didn't use any part of the words to here, so I didn't. And then, okay, this group that I'm meshing with the above was that I found this text here, but when I started editing, all this text did not need to be moved. Okay, so you're going to see that when I say meshed above, I actually only meshed these two verses above, and then made a note that don't move any of this text here, because this is just another story, but it follows the story above. Then when I added this text here, there was no like story from Luke, so it was just that it stays here, doesn't get moved. Very long story, by the way. Okay. Now, this story here is about Jesus going to break the fish and bread into pieces and feed a crowd. And I've got a saying, don't mesh and tell all like stories, because there are a lot of stories that need to be meshed. Most of the time, it is just one single story divided into two stories, and I think two books, and one book, and then the other two books is just a single story. So I'm going to make them a single story, I think. I'm not sure. Trying to think to see what. I think it ends up being in two stories. Sorry about that. But the object here is all these needed to be like stories, because, and here again, don't mesh this one. This was the two stories. I'm getting them close together and then I'm pretty sure that I'm going to separate them in the stories later, that he did feed people twice. Now, the thing here is I know this is where the book is going to vary from our Creator's everlasting promises, that I think I only have them as one story. Okay, this one. Okay, when I brought Matthew, this group over, it's as is. And then this I've got to be adding from text below to up. Oh, right. This text here is getting put above into these verses, and I don't see anything being borrowed. Okay, this was two groups where he met two men on one side. Where's it? Yeah, he met two men on one time in this story, and then he met one on the other. And the story that is more complete of telling the story, because see, demons begged him to cast him into the goats. So this here was a better story, so that's why I kept this story, as it was one male who was possessed by many demons. And I'm not borrowing any of the words to build up the other sentences. Okay, this one here is actually this verse here. Okay, so I don't need this verse to be meshed with the text below. And here that text is being meshed, and you can see here that I'm borrowing the words in the water obeyed him down here. And I'm getting rid of this part of this verse here, which I'm also getting rid of this part of this verse. So this will end up being gone because it's down here, and then I don't need this to use these words here. Now this is a real good showing of how I'm meshing to make sure I keep a lot of the words that can be used, but to get them to connect together, I can't use a lot of the words from this verses above it or below it. Okay. I just needed to look at the time. This text will be left as is. This text here will be left as is. This text here is going to be meshed down here, and I can see that whoops. Okay, I'm meshing one part here, and then going to be below it, I'm meshing above. So these three verses are right here. And I'm going to start off with that by not using this one here. And then this is going to be the group here is going to be meshed above with this group here. So I've got quite a bit of editing here to not use these verses here in Luke. I'm going to take this group and stick it up here. And that way there came an attendant, not an official. And I tried to explain that an official would be like what I would consider like an officer of the court, of the not of the court, but of tied to like we would say there's a police officer to come in and take care of it or have the authority from someone above to say that person needs to be apprehended. Okay. So, but when the text, when you read it over and over, there's this attendant. And I'm saying attendant because it's the lower tier of those that come from a synagogue. So, because you'd have the priest, you'd have the scribe for that priest to help them interpret the text, and then you would have the attendant that goes and gets the scrolls for them and things like that, or what they want to read or teach from. And I think I've added these words here because the way the story is being said down here, because she is going to die and lay her hand on her for her to live. My daughter has just died doesn't fit the rest of the story here. It's dying, please come with me. Then when they get back, she is knowing that she is dead. Because here in this story here, part of the 11 that I'm keeping was a 12-year-old, 10 and 2, was dying. Okay. Then this story is going to get split that Jesus is going to do as he's leaving, he has a crowd follow him, and there's a woman who is suffering from bleedings for 12 years. Now, this bleeding is a lack of what we know today as white blood cells that coagulate, that causes a scab and stops the bleeding. And she's one that doesn't have enough white blood cells, so it's over bleeding that she can't stop these when it happens to her when she gets cut. Now, I'm using this text here from this verse down here, okay? Because this part of this that I'm not using is up here. So you really have to look above and below why sometimes I'm taking verses out completely or parts of verses out. I'm going to completely get rid of all of this verse here, but and for she had heard, she was not thinking, she had heard. So now we have this woman as joining the crowd later because he had been healing people before this story. If my memory is correct in the completion of the story. So this verse here I did not need. Okay, now this is where I'm going to split the two verses, okay? Because I need this verse down here, okay? When I'm combining it, like I was telling you, I'm going to be splitting verses because the text here needs to be put in to keep the truth of the two stories, or the most truth to the two stories, okay? Could I have taken out most of this part? Yes, but I thought that I would try to put more into the story than less. And that would be true with all of them. What is most important and what I was reasoning out is that what needs to be put into the text or saved. Because this text 9, because see, it's the official's house they went into. Well, this part of the flute players or the crowd were actually below here, and they were weepers, and those are just people who mourned and were lamenting her. So this part actually goes with this next verse here that I'm removing this verse. And I'm using the word leave to add here. Stop sobbing and leave. He was sending them away. And like I said, I moved that verse from above down to here, and they laughed at him, and then he went into, he entered, allowed no one to enter with them. Now, I'm going to, like I said, I didn't go through here and edit everything on this one. So, because I'm thinking this story gets added to again. So it's kind of like I can't do all the editing until a lot of it's cleaned up and made it reread these. But it was just difficult enough to go through and combine the text to see what's needed and what's not needed. This here verse is completely useless now because, see, this was reported everywhere in our land. Well, this is not really needed ever in the text because we've seen that the story is that the whole group is following them. So, raising someone who they think is dead, yeah, because here they're believing she had died. So, I know one story has her dead, and here the text in the other story is believing she had died. So that's why I have at the very beginning, I believe I was telling you why I was dying in this verse here of the story. And then, where is it here? That I had to add these words is dying. So, did I influence the words to say that she was dead and Jesus didn't raise her from the dead? That, yeah, I removed, I think, that because that story um, uh, didn't fit that text as well as the other stories, in other words, that I could keep. If you have two stories differing from each other, then you got a conflict, so I straightened the conflict out. And these words here are going to be as is. This group here is going to be as is. This group here as is. And I can see the next group as is. And here's another group as is. As is here with this group. So now we're starting to get a lot of text that's going to be added to make the story longer. That, like I said, when I started with Luke, it was, here's more text that's going to be as is. And this here, this verse from here was easier to add into the text above. No, sorry. This text here is being added above. I got it as is here. Then I've got this wrong here. This is as is. Okay. This was me making some decisions on the text that I didn't need Simon here. It was Peter and Andrews. They were brothers, and James and Johnny were brothers. In the text, you don't need two James or three James, so we got rid of one James here, and one Simon. I got rid of Simon here. And then we can count, we got 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I saved Simon here. So yes, that's 12. Now we have 12. This will be as is. And I'm meshing this below into the text here. And it looks like I only used these verses here. So, okay, I've got a note here that it's as is, but sometimes Jesus is going to repeat the same like words in two different places. And I would say that would be true a lot of times as well. That I would say that when they were writing down, they would have put that even though he would have repeated the same words. And when they destroyed Jesus's text, or the text about Jesus from the first writers, they got rid of a lot of how we know that this is what he said at this time, and then he said it again this time, because he is teaching and he's reteaching people all the time. So he can't just say one group and not speak about it again the next time. So I don't know whether I was going to keep this or not at this time. And I think this is a note to myself that save this text as is. And then when I'm looking at what I do need to mesh is these verses here below. And actually, this verse, I believe this, where is it? Is I've got it B here. So we'll see. Nope. Okay. What I did was I'm removing this verse here and using B, this part here. Yeah, okay, I show that here. And the only thing that I have left is B, that he was heading to Jerusalem. Okay, so what I did was I meshed this one to this word here. And what I'm doing that I didn't show before, that when I am taking out like the first part of the verse, group of verses, I will say that I'm no longer using A by just suddenly I'm starting with B. So when you're going back to look at the original verse, you've got a helpful note. Um, so it seems like right now I'm starting to do this. I would have mentioned it when I was doing it above, but I've starting to see that I'm starting to put the letters in here as I'm editing, because I didn't know how many times I was going to do this type of thing. So I was getting used to how do I create a system that says that I'm getting rid of the first sentence. So um, in here, I found the word elders in this verse, so I put it down here in this verse here when I'm meshing it in together with other Matthew-like words, okay? So it's like a doubling of the text from above being said again in this story. It's 36 and then 36BB, or this was 36. And then what I had to do, I had to split this just when I was meshing, that this needed to be said that I'm meshing. It was just two doubling of the words. I still needed to get the word here to here. And you can see that I'm getting rid of verse A here and saving B. And I believe that I'm getting rid of 17 and keeping 18. It gets confusing after I've combined the two. So for backward studying of what I've done, this is the best I can remember at the time, because that would have been done, Matthew. That might have been done 4 months ago. So when I done Matthew, even though this would have been done maybe 1 month ago, it would be hard for me to remember 3 months ago, the combination. And I really didn't look them up. I just know that, like, here, I'm just saying it's C that I'm using out of this group. But this group here, 18, okay, is here. So 19 is there. So this should have all been 8 point now. Could use that text. This is meshed already, so I got that down correctly. And this I needed to the next video, because I'm getting too far separated from the text that needs to be meshed with. So I'm going to leave it as is for now and mesh it in the next video. This is group to the group. This verse here is this here group that I'm talking about. And here, I know that when I was meshing it next time, I needed to move this text. Later, this group here is got to be moved again. So that's a note to myself. And it seems like I've rearranged this group to here from here. See, they're not in order. So it seems that I place this text. Oh, that would have been, that's just signaling that when I took out the groups, I realized that they were not in order anymore. It's like these words needed to be meshed correctly with the other text here when I was rereading the text here. So that's a note that just says that check what I did on the video before, or probably in the original video of Luke. Okay, it's 40 minutes, so I'm going to have to stop. Well, this one as is. Okay, and I'm going to stop right here and say this one is what I'm going to start with for the next video, because I'm going to go back just breaking these at 40 minutes or close to it. So